Hey everybody, today I've got one of my favorite drones that I've had in a long time to have a chance to review. This is the Bugs 2C. This is brand new in the Bugs series, and this is a GPS drone, as you can see here on the top. I'm going to briefly go over the box it comes in. You know, it says it's got the brushless motors. I think it's 1800 kV, so it's the same as like the Bugs 6. It has independent ESCs on each arm, so it's not a 4-in-1. It's got the telemetry, two-way communication with the controller. It has a lot more than the other versions. And it of course has return to home, which they call one key return. On the back here, it mentions those same things. The IOC, that's the headless mode. Low power return to home, altitude hold of course, and lost signal return to home. This is a really nice GPS drone for the price. This is like $115, which is crazy. For my test flights and experience, this is the best low-cost GPS drone you can get. I recently reviewed the Beyond Toys X16, and I kind of said the old question mark: is this the best GPS, low-cost GPS drone? The Beyond Toys, no, it isn't. Not that the Bugs 2 is out. This actually blows it away, in my opinion. The X16 just has way too many little nagging problems and some larger problems that this does not have. So let's go ahead and go over the drone itself some more. Here's the 1080p camera in the front. It films at 30 frames per second, so it does, you know, a decent job. It also takes like 1080p video stills for its photos. The photos are the same resolution as the video. It isn't stabilized, of course, it's just a solid mount. But this, you know, this is a lot like the Hubsons, and you know, and I think this is just going to blow them away because of the price. Hubsons may have a better camera and some better options, but you know, if you don't want to spend, you know, $250 to $300, this is obviously a much better choice. Of course, it has a cool little Bugs eyes on the front and stuff. But the video quality is pretty good. It's not great. There is some jello wobble, but it's certainly not horrible. For this price range, the camera performs about as you expect. I don't know the megapixels on this camera, but it's at least 2. I did not check the megapixels on it, but you know, to be able to film 1080p, I think it's at least 2. It has an SD card slot here on the side, and that's where it comes with an 8GB micro SD card. Just a generic card. It's not any high speed class, but you don't need that for 1080p at 30 frames per second. You just go ahead and you snap that into the side here, and I think it goes the other way here. It just snaps into place, and then you got your video. Of course, you can put a much better, much larger video SD card into the drone to get a whole lot more footage. Like I said, it's got these nice white props that look a lot like a DJI, so I think these are 8-inch. These look a lot like the shape and pitch of the 9450s that I use from DJI on some of my stuff. But I don't know the actual specs on the props, except that I think they're 8-inch. But they are different than what the other Bugs series uses. They certainly look like they have more pitch to them. And there are these 1800 kV, you know, white colored motors in it. It has LEDs in the motor pods here, these little rubber landing tips, a lot like the Hubsan uses. And it will flash in different patterns to tell you when it's in compass calibration mode, and when it's in almost low voltage, and whenever it's actually in low voltage. Every time you power it on, you do have to do a compass calibration, but don't be bothered by that because it's very easy. It's just 3 circles with it horizontal like this, and then you do 3 circles with it nose down, and then it's completed. So a piece of cake to do the compass calibration. Nothing to stress over that you have to do that every single time. Whenever you're flying this thing, it has, and I'll show you in a minute with the controller, it tells you how much battery power it has. And if you're flying it very far away, and it goes to almost low voltage, which is 2 bars on the what it calls RX for the battery on the drone, it will execute a return to home if you're beyond 300 meters from the takeoff point or above 300 meters in height. Now that is really far for something without FPV, so I don't see anybody exceeding that with line of sight unless you got binoculars or you have Superman vision, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Now once it gets to 1 bar of battery power, then it will execute a return to home unless you're within 15 meters of your home point in terms of altitude or away from you in distance. Then it would just auto land. So if you're beyond 15 meters, it's gonna fly back and do a return to home landing. If you're within 15 meters, it will just auto land. So give yourself 15 meters of space around your takeoff in case you be really close. The reason why I do that is so it doesn't it doesn't try to take right back off on you when you're almost landing if it hits the very low voltage, which the X16 did, and I found that annoying. It does a fly back up height of 15 meters. So if you're low, like a few meters off the ground or 10 feet or something, and you tell it to return to home, it will fly up to 15 meters, then fly over, and then it will come down and it will land. So that's your clearance. You cannot adjust that. That's pretty good, though that's not going to be high enough for the tallest trees. So keep that in mind. Don't fly out behind some tall trees and then have it do its return to home and then fly into some trees. So keep that into mind. It comes with a 7.4 volt, 1800 milliamp, 25C LiPo battery. And it uses this XT30 connector, and it also has a balance plug here on top. So you can use a hobby grade charger if you want to, assuming that it will still fit on here, which I think an XT30 cable will, to charge up this battery. This looks to me just like the Bugs 3 battery instead of like a proprietary type case for it, because it snaps into the back here, and then you can see there's an XT30 connector and that powers it on. It is kind of difficult. My only gripe is this battery is kind of hard to get out. It takes some elbow grease and pulling to really get this battery unsnapped when you're taking it back out. The charger that comes with here is this wall charger. It looks a lot like the Bugs 3 charger, but don't be alarmed. This is not the Bugs 3 charger. I compared it. It is different, and it does do a good job, because one of the biggest gripes to the Bugs 3 charger was it did not balance the cells. This does. I charged it up, and then it uses just a balance port to plug to charge, and I plugged it into my SkyRC IMAX on the battery meter mode, and the cells are perfectly balanced. So you have no concerns with this. This charger works extremely well. It's just very slow. It takes 4 hours to charge it up. So I highly recommend that you get yourself a hobby grade charger with XT30 cable, which I don't have one yet. I'm going to get one so I can charge it up. With a hobby grade, I think 45 minutes, half an hour, depending on what rate charge it on. It's going to charge up way faster. You don't have to wait forever. It also comes with an SD card reader here to put into your computer to read your videos and photos on the computer. It comes with a screwdriver here, a Phillips, and a prop removal tool. And it comes with a full set of extra props in case you would actually have an accident and bust them. It comes with some Bugs stickers, just like all the other Bugs models, which are nice if you want to put more of them on the drone or the controller. Comes with a quick start manual if you're lazy and don't want to read through it all and just want to get off the ground, because there are some things that are not mentioned in here, of course, such as how the return to home executes on the battery voltages and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and go over the controller now. The controller looks just like all the other Bugs controllers, but it's got this LCD screen. You've got your auto takeoff and landing here. This unlocks your props and stops them. This is your return to home. You just press that and it'll fly back and land itself where it took off. You can also press it again to cancel the return to home. This is your photo video. Short press for photos, long press starts your video recording. It will show an icon for each on the screen. The screen here, I'm hoping it shows up, and I'll hold it over to the other camera and hoping that it shows up over there too. But the LCD screen's got quite a bit of information. It's got the TX, or the transmitter batteries. I think it takes 4 AA's. It's got your a spot here what will show the number of bars for the drone's battery. Obviously I'm not bound up, so it's not showing this stuff. It starts with 4. When it gets to 2, that's when it starts to beep the controller, and it tells you that you need to keep it relatively close. The battery's starting to get low, but it's not at LVC, so you don't have to be alarmed at that, except for the beeping is a bit annoying. You can go into headless mode by flipping it to the right and fly in headless mode, which to me is kind of silly on a GPS drone, but someone might need to use that. And you can turn the GPS on and off. See, that is just altitude hold only. I've flown in that, and this is GPS mode. Altitude hold, I don't see any difference in speed. It flies just the same. It just will drift on you because there's no GPS. I get quite a bit of satellites. I get around 19 when it's up in air, so I don't know if it's picks up the GLONASS Russian or not. I don't have the information, but it picks up a lot of satellites, so it has a very nice GPS lock on it. So overall, this is a really nice controller with a lot of nice features. Of course, here's some extra trims here for the pitch, and I guess for the throttle on these. I'm not exactly sure. You don't have a roll trim, but you don't really need that too much on a GPS drone. It should hold its position just fine and not drift in GPS mode. There are no rates on this, so you don't have like on the Bionic Toys X16 where you can bump it up to a higher rate. But it's rather sporty, and for me, being into this films, you don't want it too sporty with a ton of pitch, or you're going to be filming the ground the whole time. So, I like the way it flies. The yaw's nice. I had it up, quite high, and just it's a breeze to fly. This is just an awesome drone. If you don't mind it not having amazing photo quality, it's because the gimbals, there's no gimbal for stabilization. So I think we covered everything. This is just an awesome drone. Like I said, it's $115 with the coupon code in the description. That knocks it down to $115, which is just an absolute steal for something that has the features this has. So let's go ahead and we'll move along to the flight review. Alright, we have the Bugs 2 out here on my launch pad. I've already calibrated the compass. You just do 3 times right and 3 times with the nose down until the lights stop flashing. To do a gyro calibration, it's down and to the left. I can't see the lights here because it's so bright. You let up and that will calibrate it to level. This unlocks the props, like I said, and then you can take, and then you stop. If you unlock them with this, it seems like you have to hold the throttle down then to kill it, because it thinks you're taking off manually. But if you unlock it, then do the auto takeoff. So then you can, when it lands on its own, it automatically stops the prop. So this is more, the red button is wanting to be more of just a throttle unlock than a lock button for me. So let's go ahead in here and we'll take it up. I've got it in GPS mode. So go ahead and we'll do an auto takeoff. You do have to unlock the props first by hitting the red and then hit the launch button. And see, it's a little wobbly, but it's very windy today. So a little craft like this is going to wobble some, but it's holding its position pretty well. I've got 16 satellites, so you do have to make sure you have enough satellites also before you take off. It is very, very windy today, probably 15-mile-per-hour winds. So there's going to be some wobble from the Bugs 2. It's not the most ideal conditions for testing perfect, stable position hold with this much wind. So I'll go ahead and show you here an auto landing of it here. This is just using landing. This is not going to be a return to home. And it's just going to come on down here and land in the street. See, it lands real nice. Now if you want to just do it, you can just unlock the props here with the red button and just do a manual takeoff, which I'm going to do. Now if I want to manually land it, which I'll bring it down, then you have to hold the throttle down to disarm the motors. So I'm just going to keep holding it, and then that disarms them. So that's how you disarm it when you manually land. So let's go ahead and we'll unlock them again. We'll take it up and get some video footage. And I go ahead and press the long press, and now we're recording video. You can see this got the red LEDs in the front and green in the back, pretty common for the Chinese brands. And just kind of let it sit there in position. It's going to wobble some, like I said, because of the wind today. But it holds its position, really well, especially when it's not super windy. I've got 16 satellites still. I've got full signal strength. I've got 3 of the 4 on the battery. And of course I've got 3 of the 4 on the transmitter battery. I'm up 15 meters and I'm only 7 meters from the takeoff point, which I didn't actually take off right here. I would like to test the return to home on this because it works really well. Real quick here, I will flip it to just altitude hold mode. Now this is no GPS assistance, so it's just gonna see how well it holds its altitude even in its wind. It doesn't appear to be any sportier though from my tests. When I let up, it's just gonna continue to drift. Now when I flip it into GPS, watch. Now I'm flipping into GPS, it's gonna find its position, and you see it's flying back, now it's gonna hold it. So now it's in GPS, like I said, we still got 3 on the battery. I got 17 satellites now. I'm going to bring it down and try to put it on my launch pad here, and then we'll take it up and do a return to home to see how I need an auto landing. I'm going to stop recording just to get that footage saved. Long press, I think. There we go. Long press turns off the video just as it does when you start. So let's go ahead and move it over here to my launch pad. Actually, I'll move the launch pad out so we're a little bit farther away from stuff, but not into the middle of the road. We'll go ahead and take it up here and we'll do a return to land to see how accurate that is. So go ahead and unlock the props and go ahead and do an auto takeoff. I'll go ahead and start recording some video again, just so we have that. Return to land today is probably going to be a little bit more difficult because of this wind. But this is just so easy to fly that I was flying it yesterday while talking to my wife and literally just flying it around above my head and not even looking at the drone because it's just that easy to fly. But once you get to know the yaw and how much to turn around, you don't even have to even worry about as long as you have it up above any obstacles, it's just a breeze. Let off the sticks, and there it is. It's going to fly over to find where the position was, and now it's going to start holding. Now it is wavering 3 feet or so up there at first because it's finding its position, and because of this wind, it's even windier up aloft. Let's go ahead and I'm up. Like I said, it goes up to 15 meters if you're below it for return home. I'm up 24 meters now. I'm going to press the return to home. Let's see how it does it. Yesterday it usually landed within about 5 to 6 feet. I'm going to obviously correct it. You have the ability to correct it as it comes down to make sure it doesn't obviously try to come down on my car here. Right now it is facing sideways, so I can move it with the yaw. And let's see how it does coming down. It is not a quick descender at first. I've got it facing towards me. You see, it's going to be off a little ways here because of the wind. It's partially. It's just trying. So not super accurate. That's the farthest that I've had it land away from the takeoff spot. But I think the wind is contributing to that some. That's probably 10 feet. So it's not super accurate on a windy day, but it's not terrible by any means. Just not quite as accurate as your high-end GPS drones. All right, we'll go ahead and take it. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and we'll go ahead and take it up here for one more fly around here before we end the review. I'll go ahead and manually take it off this time. I'll probably try to do a return to home one more time so we see if it's maybe a little more accurate. We'll do it from a little lower altitude so it can fly back up. There's full speed in GPS mode, which I said appears to me to be the same as flying in altitude hold only. But it's fighting a pretty good breeze from right to left here, mostly. Just really nice fly. The flight time on this is around 17 minutes. That's but I've not flown it all the way to be dead. That's what it's advertised at. I know I was at least 12-13 minutes yesterday when I was doing some test flights. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press the return to home now. It's fine in its altitude. You see we're pretty close to the ground. And you'll see how it will fly up to 15 meters. I'm at it says I'm at 2 meters now. And it should fly up. There it goes. It's going to fly up. And it should fly up to 15 meters. And then it's going to come down. And we'll see how accurate it is this time. It's at 15 meters. So it went right to its fail-safe return to home height. And now it should start to come down. Has a little return to home, you know, GPS marker icon here on the controller, let you know it's in that mode. You can cancel it by pressing the return to home button, but I'm not going to do that. Looks like we're going to probably be a little bit closer this time. So that time, definitely closer. This is what I was getting typically about I laid down, this around a 6 feet radius is what I typically get when it's been windy. On a calmer day, I think it's going to be able to make those adjustments and be a little bit more accurate, but certainly within the area of buffer that I find to be acceptable. So this is a cool drone and extremely low price. Probably my favorite toy grade, I sort of call this toy grade, it's not prosumer, a drone that I have now with GPS, so all they can do. So hopefully you like the footage and you like this a lot, because I do. So stay tuned for more videos and have a good day.
The power of the dark side.